Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I hope you're all doing well. So today's video is going to be a very raw, real and honest video. I need to be open and tell you guys kind of what's been going on and kind of like the reason why I've disappeared off of social medias as of late. I want to make awareness around things like this as well. So as the title of this video, you can tell I'm going to be talking about ADHD, PTSD and PMDD. So where to start? I have tried to film this video so many times, but I just feel like I can't articulate it very well, kind of what's been going on. I'm not going to go into too much detail about my symptoms and the actual like conditions themselves and anything like that. I just want to be open about what's basically been going on with me personally. So let's start at the beginning really. So over the last couple of months my mental health has really deteriorated. Up until like 2 weeks ago, maybe a bit longer, I just felt like I had a little bit of a mental breakdown, to be honest. I felt like my mind was melting. I had the worst like brain fog. I couldn't function. I didn't know what was going on. I wouldn't say I was depressed, but I was very like low, couldn't pick myself up off the sofa, didn't want to eat. I was just in a really bad state. I could not function at all, and it got to the point where I was like, there's something really wrong with me. So first of all, PTSD. This is something I know that I suffered with. I suffered with it in the past. When Elodie was around 5 months old, 4 or 5 months old, I had a big trigger then with my PTSD. I saw a therapist, we did a bit of reprocessing work and that was all great, and literally after that I felt like I wasn't being triggered anymore because I was in a state of hypervigilance. I was just in a really bad way, and then I thought everything was fine, but I didn't delve deep enough into like the underlying trauma there really, and it's just crept back up on me. I didn't really see it coming until I was just in a really bad state. Now I have sought out a new therapist and I've just recently been seeing him. I had my first EMDR therapy yesterday, which is like reprocessing but more based on rapid eye movement and stuff like that. So yeah, that's really good. It's really weird because I actually, like, even in that session, it was like almost like after doing it, I couldn't associate my negative feelings and thoughts of that trauma memory like instantly. It was like really weird, but I still feel like I've got a bit more work to do in that situation. But yeah, I've been in a state of hypervigilance and that's just like been really bad. So the next one is PMDD. Now this is premenstrual dysphoric disorder, and it is basically what a migraine is to a headache, PMDD is to PMS. And I never really heard about this before, I don't think. I may have been told about it, but I'll get onto that. But I was looking at all the signs and symptoms, and a lot of these symptoms overlay with these conditions, but also the timing of when I was at my worst. And I did notice that it was in my luteal phase, so after ovulation but before your period, so that lead up. And it's kind of like a sensitivity to the progesterone in your body, and some people get really bad, like I mean severely really bad. And it kind of made sense because it was within that window, and I did feel a certain type of release when I came on my period. It was like almost like within 6 hours I started to turn into myself again, and by day 3 I was so much better, by day 5. So I really do think that could be linked as well. I remember feeling like this and speaking to my doctor after Isla in 2020, and obviously this was COVID, so it was all over the phone and stuff like that. But I spoke to him and it was kind of the same symptoms, and he prescribed me antidepressants because there's only really two medical ways they treat PMDD, and that's either putting you on the pill so you level out your hormones, or putting you on antidepressants. And I remember speaking to him, and it wasn't, he didn't put me on there for anything like postpartum depression, that's what we were saying, but I almost feel like maybe the doctor did mention PMDD at the time, but where I was just in such a bad head state, I just have completely blanked it out. I don't know. But anyways, I don't want to go down the route of taking medication at this point. So I have been looking at a lot of supplements I can take, and how I can help balance out my hormones with like supplements and diets. Like, I want to take a more holistic approach. I also had acupuncture at the weekend, and it is really bizarre because I really feel like it shifted something in me. I have had acupuncture quite a few times for different reasons, like back pain, pregnancy prep and stuff like that, and I've never ever been that sensitive to the needles going in. Some of them are a bit more twingier than others, but generally they're painless and they don't hurt. This session, the acupuncturist was obviously going to the points for hormones and for emotions, and my God, did I jump out my skin. I was so sensitive in those areas, and she said it's quite interesting that, you know, I'm not normally a sensitive person with acupuncture, and the areas that I'm targeting that I feel I need work on are so raw and sensitive. And I came out of that session and I was a bit like, I don't know, I felt all over the place. And then the next day I just felt all out of sorts, really. And I remember just hanging up the washing and just overcome with like teariness and feeling a bit emotional. And I'm not normally an emotional crying person. Like I get more of the mood swings and the rage and stuff like that. But I just remember feeling so freaking weird, and Adam kept saying, what's wrong? And I was like, I just feel so out of sorts, I don't know what's going on. And then by the next day, it was kind of like a cloud has lifted, and I really feel like acupuncture has just shifted my energy and stuff like that. But I am going to be keeping a diary of my phases and my cycles, and just see how my moods are, because the thing with PMDD, it's not linear. It's not every month you will be horrific, but it's generally, I think they say 10 out of 12 periods should be bad or something like that. So I'm going to keep a diary for 3 months, see where I am. I'm going to keep up with my supplements, obviously my PTSD therapy, hopefully that, you know, I can work a bit with that as well. And I am going, just a holistic approach as best as I can before I need to go to the doctors. And I kind of, anyway, need to have the backup data to go to the doctors anyway, if I do believe that, even though I think they may have mentioned it before. So anyways, last but not least is ADHD. Now, I will be honest, I had a very warped, naive perception of what ADHD was. I kind of was under the assumption it only really affected boys in their adolescence at school, you know, the ones that can't sit down, or, you know, always hyper and stuff like that, and then they grew out of it. I was so wrong. So the reason I kind of came across ADHD, because I was obviously in this mental state, I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me? What's going on? And I was looking more and more into PTSD, and I saw that there's actually a link over with the symptoms of ADHD and PTSD, and also with PMDD as well. So there's similar symptoms. And then I was looking at all the symptoms that ADHD has alone, as well as what symptoms I would have shown in childhood. And when I tell you, like, a light bulb moment went off in my mind, honestly, everything made sense to me. I was like, my God, like, my whole life, I just, like, it feels like the key. It feels like the key to my whole life and things that have been going on and how I've dealt with things in my life. And I am pretty convinced that I do have ADHD. And yeah, it was, when I tell you, it's like my life just made sense in a moment of reading that. I honestly, it is true. I suffer from dyslexia. I kind of been in denial about it, but I was diagnosed as a child and they said there's a big link between dyslexia and ADHD. Yeah, I've been in denial, trying to hide that like most of my adult life, though sometimes it's pretty hard for me to hide I have dyslexia. And yeah, so I spoke to my therapist about this and he said, first of all, let's tackle the PTSD because we know that's there. Let's, you know, have a look at that, and then we are going to see where I am, because as I said, some of the symptoms do overlink, and it's normally the ones that are linking between the three are my main issues. But like, even in my like good PMDD period, so after your period, I'm still being triggered by my PTSD, and there's still the signs and symptoms of my ADHD. As I said, I'm not going to go into everything now, symptoms and stuff like that, but I'll do some separate videos on that. But yeah, and I said about going privately, because on the NHS you've got like a 2 to 3 year wait, and he was just a little bit concerned and said if you're paying that much money privately, then he feels like I might be more likely to get a diagnosis. Like, I don't know if that's true, because surely they have criteria across the board, because I know a lot of consultants work under the NHS and also work privately as well, so surely they have the same criteria for diagnosis. Like, let me know in the comments below if you've done NHS diagnosis as an adult or you've done private as an adult. Yeah, just let me know your thoughts on that. It'd be really interesting to know. But yeah, I'm holding off, because that's one of my, well, I said I'm not going with traits, but one of my traits is I'm a very big impulse buyer, and it's taken me a lot to rein in, not just buying a diagnosis, regardless if I have the money or not. I know they're expensive, but I'm bad when it comes to buying and impulse buying, so I'm trying to reel that in at the moment. But I'm going to see where I am. Like, a lot of this is making sure I keep diaries and being very knowledgeable. I say knowledgeable, aware of just how I am, how I deal with situations, what's going on, and trying to piece bits of the puzzle together. And the thing is as well that all of these obviously have overlinking symptoms, but also they kind of like can trigger each other off. So you're 4 times more likely to develop PTSD if you already have ADHD. And then PMDD, there is a risk factor of having that if you have trauma. So it's like one thing after another, and there's a lot of comorbidity and people having more than one of these conditions. But yeah, I am feeling a lot better. Therapy is helping, my holistic approach is helping, like combine this. As I said, I'm not on medication yet. I want to try and do all these avenues first before I go down a medication route. Yeah, but as I said, it all makes sense. I feel like the ADHD one is going to be a long process, because I really need to give myself time to see if it's just like I'm dealing with these symptoms from the effects of the other, even though there's some of them that are just distinctly for ADHD, which I have. But yeah, anyways, just got this one joining me, so I hope you found this video insightful. I want to be open and honest about these topics and make awareness. There is a wealth of knowledge out there, but I still don't feel like there is enough around these topics, especially for women. And I know myself, I found watching videos like this making me feel less alone, less like I'm crazy. So hopefully that will help other people as well. I will be going into more detail about each of them and stuff like that in future videos. But I'm also trying to take one day at a time and not to put too much pressure on myself while I'm trying to treat and heal myself. I definitely will, but I am taking a step back just at the moment, but I am feeling a lot better, even with starting some of my holistic treatments and seeing my therapy. I'm feeling so good these last few weeks, so hopefully I will be back on full form soon for you guys. Please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel, because I'll be bringing you some more videos soon, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.